Hey everybody, Alex here, and today we're going to take a look at how we can go from managing our Airtable, well, in the most classic way, from this to using Noloco to create a very intuitive custom CRM for our delivery management Airtable database. Stick around because we're going to take a look at how you can create some very exciting features that you can't even really have in Airtable, to be fair. So yeah, let's jump straight in. All right then, so let's get started. Let's open up noloco.io. Noloco.io. Let's go log in. Let's choose the correct account. And let's create a new app. Click on Create New App. Let's give this a name. So this is going to be like My CRM. Next, choose Airtable Base. And yeah, just keep this named Airtable if you want. Then choose the database that you need. For us, it's Delivery Management Demo V1. Press Next. And now Noloco is basically adding all the tables. It's then going to ask us which tables we want to upload. Just press Confirm. And now it's basically going to build our app for us so that once that's done, we'll be able to start actually building our CRM. Just waiting for this to finish. And press Next. I mean, technically, we don't really need to go and do all of this. Let's go ahead and press Bring to my app. Awesome. So now we can start building the app. There's a little bit of a tour that we can take, but yeah, let's get started. Okay, so before we get stuck in with creating all of the views and just customizing the portal, let's just take a quick tour so that we know what we're dealing with in general. So, okay, first of all, we have this little panel over here on the left-hand side where we're able to jump into the various inner settings of Noloco. First of all, we have our app where we're going to be spending the majority of our time in. Then we have data, where we're going to be basically dealing with any kind of data operations and permissioning and stuff like that. Then we have our users, the users of the app. Really, this is where you're going to be managing who has got access to the app in general. Then we have workflows. So this is an interesting little part where you can create automations and such. We'll be using this occasionally. It's a really powerful tool in Noloco. Then you have deeper settings where you have all of these options where you can dive into deeper settings like app settings, theme and design, emails. You can throw in custom code. You can give access to builders and such. Yeah, so there's a lot more stuff going on here in terms of settings. And finally, you can review and publish, where you can just publish changes that you've made to your app. Any kind of changes that you do, they are not going to be necessarily reflected straight away for any user who's currently using the app, unless you press publish. Only then will these changes be visible. So now let's get started with building our actual app. So the way that I like to begin building my custom CRMs and apps on Noloco is to first begin with trying to clean up this navigation. And I usually like to begin with a homepage. So let's go ahead and do that. First of all, we're going to jump into edit mode, which is this little toggle over here. And I will delete this CRM users page, which was created by Noloco itself, just to remove it. I'll keep my profile there. We will use it occasionally. And now I'm just going to add to a sidebar a new page, just a blank page. There we go. And we're just going to call this home. Then I can also set the URL path, and I can also set this to be like home, something like that. Choose the icon, something like a home. There you go. And I'm also going to move it up so that it's right there at the top. Next, what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a title, and we're just going to call this Welcome to delivery manual CRM V1. I don't need a subtitle. Let's try and add an image URL. Just gonna upload an image, and we're gonna choose some images. So let's try and add this one. Let's see what it looks like. Cool, that looks nice. I don't believe I'm able to make this larger or smaller. I think that it's kind of like one size. So yeah, I'm just gonna keep it like this for the moment. Next, I want to have some kind of like a quick link to stuff so that I can basically have some basic places to go. As soon as I log in, I want to jump straight into something. I want to be welcomed in. And this is kind of like how we can do it. I mean, I think we can also make this like full width, which can be nice, I think. Maybe that could be nice too, but to be made full width, let's check this out. Not really sure. I'm just gonna jump back in and make this normal width, just default. I think that's a bit nicer for the moment. Okay, yeah, I'm happy with that for the moment. An interesting thing that we can do is we can jump into my profile and maybe rename ourselves. So this could be like, my first name could be Alex, and this could be Wisniewski. There we go. And that's that. Now here I can change this, and in a lot of places in Noloco you can add dynamic variables to various places. So you could say welcome Alex, so it can dynamically take the logged in user's first name. Welcome to Delivery Management CRM V1. Now, I don't think it has yet picked up that my first name is Alex. So yeah, maybe let's refresh it. There we go. Alex, welcome to the Delivery Management CRM V1. So yeah, next things on the list of things to do is to just start adding the key components from our Airtable database to our navigation. Let's start doing that one by one. So again, I'm jumping into edit mode, add to sidebar, and I want to add customers first of all. So that's nice. We'll see how that all pans out. For now, I'm not worried about what it looks like or what the data is and so forth. Next, I want to add, maybe not interactions. I want to add orders, and I want to add delivery management. Let's bring that up. And I want to add products. Cool. Right now, I'm worried mostly about the navigation. I'm not going to jump into making this pretty just yet. So customers, let's deal with that first. Customers, I'm happy with the name. I'm happy with the thing. I probably need to change the icon to something like users. Yeah, I like this one with the multiple users. Customers, orders, well, it has to deal with something like money, and maybe there's like a $sign, something like that. Delivery management, this is something like a van. We call it a truck. Yeah, there we go. Like a speeding truck, there we go. Products, and this could be something like boxes. Sorry, neurons, maybe something like that. Something like that. Cool. So I'm happy with my current layout. One interesting thing that I would probably want to add, I want to maybe add a divider so that visually some things stand out, something like that. Maybe I want to add another divider between home and the rest of my stuff, and maybe I want to add an extra divider here between orders and delivery management. Oops. I think I'm happy with that for the moment. We can also minimize the sidebar so you can see how nice that looks over here on the side. And now the next thing that I want to start working on is basically my list views. we have three types of views. We have list, which is this, it's like our list of orders or just lists of things. Then we have another view, which is our detail views. And we also have a third view, which is our form views. So let's now begin working on each view one by one in order to make it as useful as possible. Okay, so let's start with our customer. First of all, the list. So the list, typically when it comes to this kind of list, I like to begin with potentially just modifying the customer's navigation item by just adding the record count. I want to see how many customers I've got. So then it basically looks like that. There's always like a little 2 there, so I know how many customers I have. Maybe same thing was gonna go for the orders, but for the moment, I want that to be that. Then by clicking, right now I'm in edit mode. By clicking on this little area here in the top, I'm gonna be able to display this little sidebar over here. I'm gonna put myself over there in the corner. So now I'm able to play and dictate how this list looks like. So in all of these typical lists, we'll have these orders, these options over here on the side. So here we go. We have filter, and here you can define what kind of filter you want to apply to this list. Typically, we leave this blank unless we really have a serious reason to jump in and add filtration. Then we have sort and limit. So how do you want to sort this list? By what criteria? Maybe you want to sort it by the most recently created versus the oldest, and so forth. You want to maybe add a limit to the page, and maybe you want to show pagination. Then you can deal with a header. You can call this My Customers. You can add a subtitle, you can add a cover image if you want to. Then display. We have these options of display. We have rows, which kind of looks a little bit chunky to my eyes. We have columns, which essentially, if you have more than one, it will kind of like scroll through the columns. Not my favorite. Then we have cards, which again, it's kind of like the column, but only that it moves in that way. Then we have table, which is this view. Then we have a full width table, which is by far my most favorite way because it resembles Excel in a lot of ways. Then we have board, which if you had a Kanban, you can actually group by a field, and you can move things in a Kanban style. Then we have calendar. You could have a calendar view if you had dates, very useful to things like orders or maybe deliveries or something like that. We'll see that later in the series. And then we have charts. So you can create charts. You can create a map view of something. You can just create a single record. And also another one that I use very often is a split view. So here you can create almost like this two-way view of your data, almost like in a Microsoft Outlook kind of way, where you have your list of items here and you click into them and something else comes up over here on this side. So now let's go back. I think in my case, I want to create, I think I'm going to stick with this. I like this for clients. So what I want to do is I want to change how this looks. And I'm going to go to, I think, the details of this. And is it this one that I'm editing? I think I'm going to edit this. Comments. There's an interesting way of accessing this. There we go. So this way now I can remove all the fields that I don't want from here. So for instance, I just want to keep first name, last name, the interactions collection, all of that is irrelevant. So I just want to keep it like that. Now, one interesting thing that I've noticed is that although in my delivery database, I've got the first name, last name, and phone of these people, it doesn't seem to come up here. So let's try and troubleshoot this. My first choice is to just queue a data sync. So hopefully that's going to do the trick. There you go. Now I can see all of this data. I can see Harvey Jones, phone, and let's click on this now. and I can see in all this data in all of its glory. So first and foremost, I'm going to jump in and I'm going to deal with the data first, and I can see that these are my choices right now, and I actually want to be able to see the full name, space, and then the email. So the way to do this, in order to kind of edit this part, all I have to do is just create a new field right here in Airtable and call this something like client full name. And I'm just going to use concatenate first name, space, last name, comma, and then maybe like a space, and then email. Perfect. Create field. So now we've created a field in Airtable, and we need to get no loco to refresh. How do we do that? We go into our data, press on the little hamburger button over here, and queue schema sync. Once you've done that, it's always a good idea to queue a data sync as well. Once you've done that, I typically go back into the app and just press refresh so that NoLoco does a complete refresh of its system. We might need to do this one more time just so that it actually propagates fully. Let's try this. And client full name. Perfect. That's how I love it. Love it. Okay, awesome. Let's move on. So here I've got some basic data about Harvey, but I think I want this to be in a different way. I want to have, first of all, I want to have some tabs. So first of all, I'm going to create some tabs, and we're going to call this basic info. And over there in basic info, I'm going to have my key information about this client that I'm not going to use day to day. And all of it is basically kind of like their first name, their phone, that sort of thing. So we're just going to change tabs and move that to basic info. So now in basic info, I can now work on this, and I can call this main contact information, something like this. And we can now work on this. I don't need the click to call. I don't need the interactions. Neither do I need the orders. I just need the first name, last name, email, phone. Now, what I want to do is maybe display this in like a bolder way, maybe like heading 3, Harvey Jones. That's the phone. Let's try and see if we can do that on the phone as well. Yep, awesome. Nice and bold. And on the email as well. Fantastic. Now, if I want to edit this, it jumps into edit mode. If I want to see it, I can do it like that, and that is all great. Now, let's go ahead and go back into the details tab, where I want to show the most important information for that person, and that is his latest orders and the latest interactions. So for that, I need to use a collection. Awesome. Now I need to pick what collection, like what do I want to show. And I think the most important thing is the latest orders of a person. So here we go, orders. And then we need to filter. I need to add a filter, and we don't want to just display all the orders of all the clients against Harvey. We want to display all the orders of Harvey. And to do that, you have to jump to filter and then customers and orders, order item collection. So yeah, Harvey does have just one order on the system, which is order 1, 2, 3, 4. Awesome. And here in my header, I can call this, and let's see, customers, first name, orders. Something like this. And if you want to be really clever, you could also add a count. So here, customers. And if we go into order items collection, you can actually, you can choose the count field over here. And that's just going to give you the number 1. And this way you can instantly see how many orders Harvey has, which is fantastic. And you can click on one of them. Now, in this particular case, I want this to be much more slimmer because right now, yes, they only have one order, but what if they have like 100 orders? I want this to take as little real estate as absolutely necessary. So I'm going to jump in there and choose display and then table so that this takes as little space as possible. Now, here I can, let me just see in my orders, do I have anything more interesting? No. Okay, so this now is my list of orders for that, for Harvey. Next, I want to add another collection, which is going to be Harvey's interactions. So again, list type, interactions. Here, again, we're going to do the same thing. Header, and call this interactions. And again, we can do the same trick with account, customers, interactions collection count, and that's just going to give us the interactions. And right now for Harvey, there's 0, and you can see that we have 3, so you're like probably confused. Nothing to be confused about. Jump into the filter, as we did previously, and just filter by interactions collections of that person. And from here, we can also take this a step further, where we can go into empty state, and we can call this no interactions found. So you can customize even this part. Now, this is one way to view things, and this is one way to set up your views. This is just a list view. Of course, there's multiple ways to do this. So for now, let's jump into that other type of view, which is the detail view. I mean, we've already worked on it a little bit here, but let's now jump into like the order detail page. And for that, I'm going to go into my orders. I'm going to pick an order, the one for Harvey, and let's now begin working on this. Okay, so this is a very typical detail view as it comes out of the box from Noloco. So let's dive straight in and let's see how custom this can be done. We've already taken a look at how you can kind of set up a detail view in the customer side, where it's almost like in a style of Outlook. But in our case, what we want to do is we want to now modify a more, like page-like detail view, which is a bit more classic, I think. Yeah, again, let's just jump into edit mode. There's a bunch of interesting things that we can do. First of all, we have some classic modules. So this is a highlight module, which kind of looks like this. It highlights certain fields. You can add to it. You can make changes to how big or how small certain elements become. So yeah, that's part of that. Then you have your typical details of a record. Again, you can jump in and you can, define how big or how small each field is. You can also play around with its formatting, so you can make things larger or smaller in terms of how much they pop out of everything else. But you can also have certain records that are related to this product. So for instance, in this case, I'm bringing in the customer and I'm showcasing fields from the customer itself. I don't have to create lookups in my order field. Noloco simply can bring fields from my linked field straight into this order record, which is very cool. Then we have the assigned routes. I mean, right now this looks a little bit messy, so yeah, I would say let's just clean things up and let's start from absolute scratch. There we go. Okay, so my philosophy is kind of similar to how Noloco portrays things. I would begin with a highlight, or maybe even better, we can introduce like a little stage thing, because every order typically has got stages, and like new, in progress, and then delivered. So let's just call this status, and we're just gonna call this, set this up to be a single select, and we can call this new, then in progress, and then delivered. So here in new, let's just turn this into yellow. Then in progress can be like a violet, and then delivered can be green. Perfect. Let's set this up. So this is now in progress. This is new, and this is also new. Perfect. Again, we're dealing with no logo here. So let's go ahead and refresh our schema. Then queue a data sync and go back, and let's refresh our page. And let's see if those fields are there. So this is highlights. Actually, no, I don't want to add a highlight. I want to add a stages field. Here we go. And then in stages, now I have status. And I want to use the option colors. So now no logo is honoring the colors from within Airtable for each stage, which is fantastic. Just looks really, really nice. I also want to disable the user edits, or actually, you know what, enable. I want people to be able to click on a stage, and that will, as you can see, change the stage in Airtable in real time. Yes, I like this right here at the top. Then I want to deal with some highlights. I want to highlight key information about this order. This is prime real estate, by the way. So I know that anybody who's jumping into this order, they want to see very important information without scrolling. So the status, which is really important. I want them to be able to see who the client is super quickly. And maybe, I don't know, the delivery date or something like that, or maybe the product. So let's jump in. We can, of course, change our mind about this, but for like in the beginning, it's good to try and predict some of these things. So I think we need the customer. I think we need the order number. And what else do we want? Maybe the product and then the quantity. Perfect. That is very nice, very quick. And maybe there's like a delivery address, assigned route. Okay, cool. Maybe the assigned route is more important than what the product is. So there we go. Something like this. I'm happy with that for the moment. I'm going to change my mind later on. Now let's try and clean this up. Customer, order number, assigned route. Fantastic. Okay, let's keep going. We can create now details, just the basic details of this order. So here we should just add the product, the quantity, total line item price. What else? The order date. And then we can call this here in the header product details. Then, because I'm a little bit lazy, I'm just gonna duplicate this section and I'm just gonna call this delivery details. And here I'm going to add all the delivery fields that are needed for this order. So delivery address, line 1, line 2, city, province, postal. And what else do I need? I probably need the client. Well, yeah, the client details also would be nice. So let's go customer first name, customer last name, customer email, and then also customer phone number is going to be very useful. And now all of this looks like a bit of a mush. So I need to make things stand out as much as possible. So customer can be right here at the top with last name, email, and phone number. I want to duplicate this and I'll just want to call this client details and just include these client details alone. Perfect. And then this can be our delivery details without the client information, just pure delivery. Awesome. And I also want the postcode to stand out. So that could be like a heading 4, something like that. Yeah, that looks awesome for the moment. And yeah, assigned route is also over there. So that is a nice way to create a basic detailed view of a record. The next thing that we need to create or take a look at in terms of NoLoco setup is a form view. So let's dive straight in and see how that works. Okay, so let's take a look at how we can set up forms properly, or at least how I like to set up forms. Right now, we're gonna we're gonna try and set up an order form. So let's say a client calls us up and they want to place an order over the phone. How can we place a new order? The idea is to be able to go into orders, press new order, and fill out a form. We're gonna try to make this even cooler than it works right now. So one thing that I want to do is to introduce addresses. Let's say we have an order. We want to pick a client email and we want to pre-fill the address for that client. The way that the system is set up right now is kind of weird. You have to manually set up the delivery address. So actually, you know what? Let's take a look at both. I've changed my mind. Let's take a look at how to do this manually, and we can also then have a look at a more advanced version of how to do this, because NoLoco has a very interesting ability to filter down lists based within a form based on a previous answer. So let's begin. First of all, first things first, plus new orders. No, I want the button to say new order. So let's jump into edit mode, and we're going to go here in the buttons, and then there's a new record button. Yes, and let's call this new order. Perfect. Now we can move on and we can set up the form. Here we go. Again, edit mode, create a orders. No. So let's go header, and let's call this plus new order. That's how I like to see. That's what I like to see in my headers, like a plus new order. I think it looks great. Next, order number. Now, I mean, the way that I like to do this is kind of like disable everything and start from scratch, because it forces me to think about what do I want to see next as a user. NoLoco does a great job of pre-filling things for you and kind of, getting you a head start, but to be honest, for me, it's more of a hindrance than a support. So order number, I want that to be there, and I also want that to be required. I want to see if I can potentially have a default value. Form data, no, it can't be form data. Anyway, order number, we'll need to type something in every time. So there should be an order number, or we can come up with this automated system where it can pre-fill an order number for us. But anyway, for now, let's just say that an order number is required. Next, I want to actually add a section. I want to section this out. So this is the section called order number. And in fact, I'm just going to jump in, and I think I want to try and hide the label. Here we go. So that's nice. Order number. I want to add another section, and we can call this customer. And in here, I'm just going to put myself over there. I want to add the customer. Something's a little bit strange. Here we go. Customer. I want to add the customer email. There we go. Perfect. Now this is not the customer email, clearly. This is the customer. So that is that. You can also display it as a list, but you're going to have so many customers that I think this is not a great idea. So let's just display it as a default. Yes, maybe I want to create new clients from here, because maybe it's a brand new client and they want to place an order. So yeah, I want to be able to see this new button over here. Once you press it, you get like a little pop-up, which will create a new client, which is fantastic. Next, let's just edit this. What form? Yes, create. Only allow users to create new clients. Okay, fine. What form should be used? There's only one form. anyway. So yeah, default sorting, just default sorting, or maybe actually alphabetical, first name to last name. So yeah, we can have, yeah, H comes before M, so that's fine. Client, then we have another section for product. And here I want to choose order and quantity. Now, in my order section, I've just realized I want to include order date. I'll bring that up. And in here, I wanted to pre-fill the date, like today's date. So dates, today's date, now. And that pre-fills today's date, which is really nice. Customer, product, quantity, beautiful. I like the way that looks. Now, in products, I probably want this to be sorted by the name A through Z, so that it's product 1, product 2, product 3. Perfect. Excellent. Do I want anything else? Not for now, but I definitely want it to be required. I want the quantity to be required. In fact, I want the default quantity to be 1. And I only want to show the quantity once the product has been filled in. In fact, I want the whole products thing, whole product section to be shown only once I've chosen a customer. Let's go ahead and do that. So products only show when conditions are met. And here I'm going to say form values, customer email is not empty. So now I have to choose client, and then that section gets shown. Moreover, I want to show the quantity only when the product is shown. So jump into quantity, only show when conditions are met. Then the condition is form values, product, and then product is not empty. So let's try that again. Harvey, product 1, quantity, excellent. And then my next single status, I want the status to also be shown up here, and I want to display this as a radio button, and the default value is new. So I want new to be always pre-filled. Perfect. Harvey, product 1, and I think the next thing that I want to do is I want to add a delivery section. Awesome. So here I'm going to add the typical stuff for the delivery, the customer phone number, and delivery line 1, 2, city, province, and postal code. Now, assigned route, this is not something that is part of a new order, because typically the assigned route is when we're going to be dealing with the deliveries of certain orders. This is not something that's going to go straight into this particular process, or at least that's how I want it to be. So yeah, that looks good. Now, what I want to also do is I want to show you how we can make the delivery address section more automated using NoLocal's ability to filter. So what I want to do is I want to choose a client, Harvey, let's say, and then I want the delivery address. I want to see a list of delivery addresses, but only Harvey's delivery addresses. So how do we do that? Let's jump in and let's create a new table in Airtable, and let's call this customer addresses. Excellent. Let's bring this over here. And let's, again, you know by now how I am. I like to start with a clean sheet. And here we go. Link to another record, customers, only a single customer. And here I'm going to choose Harvey. Now, in this case, I want to create a single line text field. I don't want to call this anything. I'm going to jump into orders, and I'm going to use a little Airtable trick here. I'm going to trick Airtable to give me, to auto create the rest of these fields and also populate the names. So as you can see right here, I'm going to just copy all of this over, copy this. Now, you might see that I've copied 5 cells, but if I'm not mistaken, Airtable not only copies the 5 cells, but it also copies the names of them. So if I'm lucky, I should be able to paste this in, yes, expand the tables, and boom. Airtable not only pasted the values, but it also pasted the names of the columns, which is very handy. I'm going to change this label to, what was this? This was, I think, delivery address line 1. Perfect. Excellent. Line 1. Beautiful. Oh, sorry. This is line 2. This is line 1. There we go. Excellent. And what I'm going to do, I'm just going to bring in, so that was, I think, Harvey's. Is that Harvey? Yes, that's Harvey. And then we also have Mike's address, which is slightly different. Beautiful. And this is going to be Mike. So here we go. That's Mike. Mike. Gorgeous. I'm going to also create a quick formula here so that we know this is, I think I'm going to concatenate a bunch of strings together. So the customer, and then almost like a pipe, and then delivery address line 1, a comma, a space, delivery city, a comma, a space, the province, a comma, a space, and then delivery postcode. Beautiful. Awesome. That looks great. So now let's jump into NoLoco. I'm going to again refresh my schema. I'm going to refresh my data, and I'm going to go back to my app, and I'm going to refresh this whole thing. One other thing that I actually forgot to do is here in orders, I want to bring in the actual delivery address. So I'm going to be choosing my customer, obviously, but then also here, I want to create a customer delivery address. And this is going to be addresses, link to addresses, only a single record, of course. So Harvey, we're going to be choosing Harvey. Mike, we're going to be choosing Mike and Mike. The next thing that I want to do, just to make this pretty, I want to go in here and I want to change this from just a single line text to a lookup. All of the address for that client. So customer delivery address, line 1. Nothing's going to change, of course. We're just changing the type there. Line 2, same thing. Lookup. Delivery address, line 2. Awesome. City, same thing. Beautiful. Province, lookup. And post. Beautiful. Okay, now we're going to have to do another refresh of schema and data sync, of course, in NoLoco. Refresh. And let's see. Customer addresses is now here, which is fantastic. And let's now go ahead and do this part that I really wanted to show you. So we're still in the new order creation form, and I'm going to go into edit mode, and I'm going to change this slightly to, instead of having a whole section for the delivery address, I'm going to remove all of these fields, remove the section, and just add the customer delivery address over here at the top. So the idea is that I want to choose the client, Harvey, and then I just want Harvey's addresses over here. How do we do that? super easy. Let's first of all jump into that field and just clean it up. Next, we want to create an options filter. And to do that, we just have to, we also want to allow people to create a new address. So that's nice. Next, we have to say in the filter over here, when I press plus, it's a little bit stuck right now. Come on, no logo. Not sure what's going on. Let me just refresh the page. Let's just refresh it again. Here we go. So let's just jump back in. Delivery address. Excellent. And over here, options filter, I want to select the customers is equal to, and then some value record, i.e. the record where we are right now, customer email. So that should now work. Let's try this out. Customer, Harvey, delivery address, and you can only see Harvey's. If I choose Mike, it's only Mike, which is great. Now, yeah, that's basically it. Product, choose my product, quantity, and that's it. Here, I just need to put in my order number, and now I can save this. And I'm taken straight into the order detail page that I created earlier. And that is the basic way that I like to create start the creation of my NoLoco portals. We're going to go into deeper settings, of course, but I think this is a good start for anybody who wants to get started very quickly with the good foundational knowledge of how to set things up so things look nice. So yeah, that's it for now, and yeah, I'll catch you guys in the next one. Cheers.